Okay, so we're going to look at first aid for a horse with a fever. Every horse has a temperature, and if the temperature is 102 or higher, even 101.5, that's considered a fever. So if you're getting into a temperature of 103, 104, 105 with your horse, that's considered a serious fever. So even while you're waiting for the vet, that requires an emergency call to the vet. If you've got something at 103 or higher, definitely an emergency call to the vet. And while you're waiting for the vet, the first aid you can do is just cold hose and scrape. So it's kind of a chilly day. I'm not sure I want to get them too wet. I'm just going to barely demonstrate this. But you stand them, hold them, stand them wherever they will, where you can get them wet. You're going to spray. I know, it's a little chilly. You're going to spray and scrape. The reason you're scraping is because the longer the water sits on the skin, the horses actually heat up. So if you want to reduce heat in the body, you're going to spray and scrape and spray and scrape and spray and scrape and spray and scrape. To really bring down the fever, some of the key areas, you have the facial artery here under the jaw and the jugular, major artery. So under the neck, oops, can you turn just a little bit? So right here where that groove is roughly where the jugular runs, and right up into here, right? So if I can use icy cold towels, I could use ice packs, I could use just a plain hose, especially if my groundwater is cold. And I'm just gonna spray down the groove, the chest, under the chest, and then they also have kind of significant blood vessels that run down the inside of the front legs and the inside of the hind legs in here. And you can kind of almost see them. Usually that vascularity kind of stands out. So when I'm trying to bring down a horse's temperature quickly, I'm not going to go straight to the back. I'm actually going to go to the underside of the horse. And so while I'm spraying, I would spray, we'll get you a little bit wet. I would spray down here, under here, down the insides of the legs, right? I might even do, the belly to bring down the visceral temperature, and then inside the hind legs, and even behind the hind legs, up under the tail, and down the inside of the hind legs. I also could spray the entire body, and the more I scrape the top of the body, the more I'm releasing the heat while I'm scraping the water off. So it's kind of a continual spray and wipe, spray and wipe, spray and wipe, spray and wipe. The other thing I can do is fill up a tub with ice water. I can dump a bag of ice into like a Tupperware tub or a big bucket. I can dunk full-size towels in that icy water and lay the towels. I can lay the towels over the neck. I can lay, there's my thermometer. I can lay the towels across the back and across the butt. And then those towels, as soon as they heat up and they're no longer cold to the touch, I'm going to take them off, wring them out, dunk them in the ice water, and put them back on. So if I have a horse with a really high fever, because you can get serious complications from a high fever on top of what caused the high fever, so bringing that fever down is really important. And so icy cold towels or even wet towels, if you don't have ice available, even wet towels draped over the neck this way, draped over the back, draped over the hind quarter, or at least spray and wipe, and getting the underside of the jaw, the underside of the neck, between the front legs, down the insides of the front legs, along the midline of the belly, down the inside of the hind legs, and the back of the hind legs, under the tail and all the way down the back of the hind legs. Those will actually help cool the blood faster and help bring the fever down faster. And then if I have to have the horse in the stall and I can't get the horse to a hose, then at least soaking towels in as cold of water as possible, laying the towels across just like we would put a cold compress on our forehead. And you can even do cold wet towels here, right? Their little brain is right in here. So you can do cold towels on the face, right? Around the ears. You can wipe down and wet down the face. All of that will help reduce a fever, or at least keep the fever from escalating until the vet gets there and having secondary issues. So that's first aid for fevers.